Protesters have been waving their flags all day at Gisborne as a replica of the Endeavour arrived to mark 250 years since Captain James Cook landed. There's been a civic service with the Governor-General and Mayor of Gisborne to welcome the visitors. But not everyone is happy with the commemorations. Our reporter Alex Perrottet and cameraman Nick Monro went along to catch all the action at Tūranganui-a-Kiwa, or as Captain Cook dubbed it, Poverty Bay.
There was no pōhuri for the British tall ships this morning, 250 years after Captain Cook arrived. That arrival marked by the death of Te Maro and Te Rako and others at the hands of the European sailors who had been told to peacefully engage. There's been tension too among iwi and a range of reactions to the expression of regret made by the British High Commissioner Laura Clark here last week. These protesters furious that the Endeavour is here at all.
To me, it's a farce. It's a trample on our tikanga and our mana of our Tūranga tribes, which we said we did not want the Endeavour berthing here. Why the government has proceeded to do so is disingenuous of any relationship we've had with them, and we've now got to come here and protest about it.
But others on the Waikanai beach shoreline, standing near the statue of Captain Cook, had other views.
Excuse me, that we are one nation. So I think it's very disappointing that when people harp on about things in the past that they probably don't even really know what happened, and let it go. Move on.
History's already written, and so I'm hopeful that there's a new chapter.
We brought the kids along to try and imagine what it was like 250 years ago. Two meetings of two different cultures. Yeah.
Do you think they've got the balance right?
I'm hoping they've got the balance right. It's subject to everyone's different opinion, but I feel hopeful and quite positive about the future going forward. Yeah.
Just over my shoulder you can see the bark Endeavour. Well, it's a replica of the original ship that arrived here in Tūranganui-a-Kiwa exactly 250 years ago. Some welcoming the ship, others making sure that the people on board that ship are very unwelcome, saying that it was a ship that brought disease as well as colonisation to these lands. The boat will now tie up amongst other tall ships and traditional waka haurua before a civil ceremony to mark the occasion. There's crews of young voyagers who have come a long way to be here today, guided by the stars and currents, all part of Tuia 250 commemorations, showing that travelling on the high seas wasn't limited to the Europeans. Huia Pihema Te Aitangia Mahaki is from Te Kura o Tūranga and conducted the whakatau for VIPs and the arriving voyagers. She says the expression of regret is a chance to move forward.
We've heard her. We've heard her plea. We've heard her grief. We've heard her sentiments. We've heard her sincerity and the expression of regret. Now, there's lots of debate across the country about is that enough in terms of an apology. From Te Kura o Tūranga, what we would like to say is it's a start. I don't want my tamariki and their generation and my mokupuna in another 50 years' time still dealing with the same stuff. India
Tabellini is a Tahitian who captains the Whawhaite. She navigated by the stars and currents on her waka haurua all the way from Tahiti to Aotearoa.
We had two navigators from Tahiti and one from Aotearoa. The two navigators from Tahiti, they were under exam to become navigators. So it was, I think it was very challenging for them, but they did a great job. Yeah.
Well, you got here.
Yeah, we're here. So it's all good. Yeah.
The Governor-General, Patsy Reddy, and Mayor of Gisborne, Riette Stoltz, and a host of other dignitaries also welcomed the crew of the Endeavour replica, which arrived in New Zealand waters 10 days ago and is preparing to join the flotilla of vessels travelling around the country. Another challenge, 250 years on, without the misunderstandings and violence. Meredith Akuhata-Brown is a Gisborne District Councillor with English, Welsh, Maori and Scottish descent. She's taking a realistic view of the events that played out and says those seeking to comfort themselves might have the wrong ends in mind.
For me at the moment, it's about being comfortable in the uncomfortable. Sit in it, just be with it and be okay with that. That's what I feel is a time in this region particularly where there's a lot of emotions. Profound impacts happened. Just sit in it and ask yourself, what does it mean for you?
Appeasing all parties on past and current issues is an impossible endeavour. But it's hoped that marking this anniversary is a chance to heal and walk together.
And Alex Perrottet joins us now live from on board the Endeavour. Alex, what's happening there?
Kia ora, Lisa, and welcome on board the bark Endeavour. You're the anchor. I am at the helm, otherwise known as the ship's wheel of this ship. It's come across from Sydney. It usually belongs at Sydney's Maritime Museum, and of course, to mark this occasion, the 1769 arrival of Captain James Cook and his crew here. It's made the voyage across the Tasman. I want to bring in Captain Frank Alica. He's going to come across here and explain to me this piece of work here, this ship's wheel. What does it do?
Well, this is really a nice piece of 18th century technology. You can see the wheel, which is fairly conventional. We've got a big warping drum here with coils of rope around it. This coils of rope go round through 4 blocks on the deck and attached to a great big 7-metre long tiller, just as you'd use on your normal yacht, except it's 7 metres long. This side you've got brawn, that side you've got brains. Brains steers on the compass. Brawn is the guy that actually puts the brawn into it to make it work, and that's really tough steering, particularly in a big seaway.
Wow. So Captain Frank Alica here taking us through how this thing actually gets across the seas. There's been a crew here as well as in other tall ships. And equally, if not more impressive, Lisa, we have Waka Haurua. This is the Polynesian vessels that are moored. You might be able to see them if you're watching, but they're right over our shoulders on the other side there, right through into Poverty Bay. And we've had young people there being guided by the stars, navigators, as you heard and saw in the report, that have made their way over here and will be part of a flotilla with these tall ships going right around the country. Tell us a little bit about what you think about those young people without the same technology as these European ships.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got 18th century technology there. They've got 1,000-year-old technology, basically, a waka, a canoe, which is they're taking across thousands of miles of water, navigating by the stars, and lots of other Polynesian methods which were quite unique to them. Fantastic. But whereas we're living in relative comfort, at least we have hammocks to sling, they're living in the bottom of the boat. So we eat good meals. They don't eat quite so well as we do, I'm sure.
Even more impressive, seeing as though all of these young people and others will be going right around the country in a flotilla. They'll be going down the west coast as well, just as Captain James Cook did, and that will take them right up to about Christmas time, Lisa.
Thanks, Alex. Alex Perrottet joining us there from on board the Endeavour with a slight suntan, it has to be said. He looked a bit sunburnt. Tūranganui-a-Kiwa has really turned it on today.